Hi, welcome to Chair Chats, the lifestyle show with a disability twist. I'm your host, Pauline Victoria. In my experience, life has not always gone according to my plans. I've been unexpectedly unemployed. I've surprisingly fell in love. I've dealt with sudden and unexpected deaths in the family. And maybe you too have experienced the curveballs that life has thrown you. And when I think about the unexpected events or circumstances that come into our lives, I'm reminded about what Epictetus, a Greek philosopher, said. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You see, how we go through change, how we transition through change, can often define who we are and the quality of experience that we have in life. Today's episode, we have a guest who has experienced a life-altering change. But we're not going to focus on the change itself, but rather how he has transitioned through that change with grace, joy, and a positive attitude. So please open your minds and your hearts to Todd Love. Hi, Todd. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Pauline. It's nice to be here today. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
You and I have just met recently. I came across your story. You had done a race called The Beast. It's a pretty intense race.
Yes, in Leesburg, Virginia, I did a race on the 25th of August, I think, and it was a great time with Team Extreme, is the team that I participate with, and there was a lot of support, and it was a great turnout.
Good. So I just happened to come across that article, and I read the article and I was intrigued by your story, as many people are, because as I dug deeper, there were quite a few stories I found on you. There's been a lot of media attention on you and what's happened to you. So some people out there that are watching this might be familiar with your story, but for those that are not, can you just describe what has gotten us to this point? Why all the attention on Todd Love?
Why all the attention on Todd Love? I don't know, but I can tell you, I just go out there and I'm just myself. I just be myself, and people seem to be attracted to me, and I seem to be attracted to people. So I'm an outgoing person. I like to go out and meet people, and I kind of do a bunch of crazy stuff that gets attention. So, for instance, since I've been hurt, I got hurt in Afghanistan in October 25th, 2010, and losing both my legs and my left hand. And since then I've done lots of kind of soul searching at the same time, but also like all these it's kind of like being a kid again, because I had this new body, and I'm kind of teaching myself how to live all over again. You know, how to use the bathroom and how to get from point A to point B and how to eat, and and so it's kind of been a lot of trial and error, but I've been expanding my limits of realizing what I'm capable of. And since then I've done snowboarding and kayaking, and I've been scuba diving, and all these things that I keep realizing, oh, hey, like I can still do these things. And I play piano still, and I just don't let it stop me, and that's I don't let my fears stop me.
Mm-hmm. So basically you're a Marine and you were in Afghanistan, and there was you were on a mine sweep, and you found one, basically.
I found one, yes.
Okay.
Not the most preferred way, but I did find. I am a Marine, and I'm with First Recon, and stationed out of Camp Pendleton. I went to Afghanistan for about 5 months, and for most of it I was a machine gunner. And then there was a transition where I became the point man, and I did a handful of patrols as a point man, and eventually I ended up stepping on an IED, an improvised explosive device. And upon stepping on it, it immediately took both my legs. So
okay, so that's kind of the big turning point in your life that has brought us to this point, and is to why I'm actually bringing you on this show to talk to people about how do you transition through a major change. And I would definitely put your change in the major category of life. So I wanted to talk about, because there are people out there who might be going through a change, maybe not as drastic as yours, maybe more drastic. But there are always things that happen in our life that we can't control. And this is something that you did not see coming. Like if you were 16 years old and I told you in 5 years you're going to have no legs and one arm left, you would have been shocked to hear that. But things happen. So I would like you to describe maybe a before and after picture. What were you like before your accident? And now that you've gone through what you've gone through, how are you now?
Well, a lot of people would tell you that I'm actually very much the same, and I think that kind of says a lot, because I didn't allow it to change who I am. And a lot of people will allow it to change the way they perceive themselves. I could be self-conscious about the way I feel, about the way I look, but I don't let my injuries do that to me. And it definitely has transformed me. I'm very much the same person, and I act very the same, but I have had to step it up. And a lot of it's because it's not necessarily just about me, like I don't have a wife or a kid or anything, but I do have brothers and sisters and my mom and my dad that, if I crumble, like they'll crumble with me. Like it's give take. I have to be strong for them and they have to be strong for me. And even my friends in my platoon that were there with me when they saved my lives, how would it be, like I have to be strong for them too. I don't want them to ever regret what happened in Afghanistan. Just make the best out of it.
And that brings me to the next question, which is, how did your friends and family react to it?
I felt like my friends and family were dealing with it harder than I was. And the reason being, and you're a mother, so I can ask you a question right now, and this will make it simple for you. You don't have legs either, so it doesn't. Well, usually I ask a mother, I say, would you rather you lose your legs or your son lose your legs? And every single time a mother or father will always say, I would rather me lose my legs than watch my son or daughter lose their legs. So clearly my parents value my legs more than they value their own legs. So to an extent, they actually lost more than I did. Like it's because they're selfless, and that's the thing. So they're dealing with it. It's just as hard for them as it is for me. And I don't know. It's just for me. I that's the way I think. I was thinking, I could tell that my parents were having a hard time dealing with it, and my brothers too, and we're still dealing with it. There's still healing going on from the whole thing, and it's one day at a time.
Mm-hmm. So, and you said before that you have to be strong for them. How much of how you react to your situation, does it affect their ability to react to your situation?
I think that it helps significantly. They would be the ones to ask that question, but I think that me just being myself and just going forward with life as I normally would, I think that allows them to just continue to go forward in life. I don't want to like be depressed and let it hold me. I don't want this to get in the way of me achieving my dreams. I would be missing out on so much if I did that. And the same thing. I don't want to suppress my parents and have them worry about me all the time because I'm depressed, or I don't want them to. I want them to be happy. I want to be happy. I want everyone to be happy.
Yeah, I think it's. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's the way it should be. Everyone should just be
happy.
People are too stressed out about so many things. It's like, how do you live like that? Just relax and just keep going.
Yeah, I think when you were talking, I think as a mother myself, I think when something happens to your child or someone you love, let's just take a child, you know, when they lose something, you think about all the other things that they're going to lose, their hopes, their dreams, their ability to do certain things in this life. And it sounds like what happened to you, you lost both your legs and one arm. Let it stop there. You don't have to lose anything else in this life. You don't have to lose your hope. You don't have to lose your ambition to try things, your sense of adventure. And I think that's really powerful, a powerful message for people to hear about, because when something gets taken away from you unexpectedly, you can choose whether it's going to take more away from you than what it already did.
Mm-hmm.
I know, you know, right, you've transitioned so amazingly. I mean, most people would be like, well, this guy, why? He's like, oh, I just want everyone to be happy. Come on, he lost his legs and an arm. You know, that's ridiculous. But, you know, not everyone might have that same attitude right away. And I don't know if you had that perspective right away, or if there were moments when you had to remind yourself, wow, things are different. I can't just get up and go to the bathroom. I can't just get up out of bed and you know, and do what I need to get done so quickly as I used to. How did you deal with those reminders of, okay, things are different?
Well, a lot of it didn't sink in, you know, at first. Like when I first woke up and I realized what my injuries were, I was actually thinking, you know, I was kind of talking to God. I was kind of having a conversation with God, and I was kind of saying, you know, why are you doing this to me? And then immediately afterwards, I was thinking, what are you trying to prepare me for? You know, that's the way I looked at it. And you know, I wouldn't, you know, I don't want to take the credit for my recovery. Like, it really has a lot to do with those around me, and you know, I've physically been carried through my recovery, you know, many times, and emotionally as well. You know, there's people are always there for me. I have an outstanding support group. You know, I have other guys in similar situations that are just as amazing. You know, and you know, I see them and I'm like, wow, you know, you're awesome. You know, like I want to be more like you. And then I get to meet these other awesome people. I'm surrounded by these awesome people all the time, and I think that's why I just get a little bit of all of them, and that's kind of who I am. It's a little bit of everyone that I meet, you know. And like yourself, for instance, you know, I get to meet people like you. It's like, this is the life I live. I get to meet these awesome people all the time, and you know, it's like I just surround myself with good people.
Mm-hmm. So having good people around you, a good support group, helped you get through the change of you were used to into what you have now.
Yes.
Okay. Any other advice? Maybe someone just got hurt. Maybe someone got into a car accident. Maybe someone is coming back from overseas injured. What would you say to them?
I would tell them to, you know, just don't give up. You know, don't be that guy. You know, because once you give up, you know, you really are going to be missing out on a lot, and people don't realize, you know, life's not about hands or feet. You know, that's not why we're here. We're not here to do this or that. We're here for each other. You know, we're here to have a relationship with people and to build those relationships. And that's what life is about. It's not about building my body, you know, to, you know, this or that. So for me, like, I don't know it's hard to, you know, I've met with a bunch of wounded warriors as they come back, and I just kind of, usually when I meet them, I'm just like, hey, this is me, and I'm telling you, it's going to be all right. You know, like look at, I've sat where I'm in the hospital bed right where you sat, and I know what it's like, and I've thought the same thoughts that you have, but I can promise you that if you don't give up and you keep trying, that everything's going to be all right.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm reminded, a lot of people have come up to me, and they say, gosh, you have such a whole spirit. And they're shocked about how such a whole spirit I have, despite what they perceive as a broken body. you know, and what you said about we're not here just to build up our bodies. We're much more than that. And I think that's such an important message for people to hear, because I think we get so stuck in the physical, and we have to remind ourselves that we're much more than that. And if you have, if there's a viewer watching and they have working and able hands and legs, great, go use those gifts that you have. And sometimes the trajectory of what we're meant to do in life happen, you know, circumstances come to, so we can be on that path, new path. And I like what you said about what are you getting prepared for in this life, and that's beautiful. I don't know if you saw the movie Soul Surfer. It's about Bethany Williams who lost her arm.
I've seen it.
Okay, so there's this one line in there that I really love, and she says, I can hold more people in with one arm than I can with two arms. You know, she can help more people with one arm than she could ever with two arms. Do you feel the same way?
I definitely do. You know, like there's things that I can do now that I couldn't do before, and I mean in an influential way. I have much more influence now than I did before, and I was the kind of person before where I never liked to ask for help, and I was kind of stubborn, and my stubbornness has helped me through my recovery. But at times, you know, I've had to realize, you know, it's all right to ask for help. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, everyone needs help. You know, you can't do everything by yourself. Not everyone needs help. You know, so it's kind of humbled me to an extent. You know, to not be afraid to ask someone for help if I need it. But usually I wait until I need it. I don't like to abuse my power.
I know it's easy to get people to feel bad, and you know, you can get them to do a lot of things for you. But I think it's important to maintain your sense of self-pride, that, you know, to sometimes, and we've had this talk before about, you know, we want to see if we can do it. Just knowing that we can do it, that we can have the option to be able to do it. We might not necessarily want to do it all the time by ourselves, but knowing we can makes a huge difference in building our self-confidence, I think. You know, having that influence over people, and being able to have that now. So I have a question for you that has been presented to me throughout my life. If you had the ability to have your arms and legs, trade it back, would you?
Now, if I could go back and change things, no. But if I could have my legs back right now, yeah, I would. But I wouldn't change anything in the past, because it's brought me to where I am now.
Right. So would you rather have the physical arms and legs, or were the influence that you might be able to have in this world?
I don't think that it would, you know, for all I know, I could one day have my legs back again. I think that's a possible reality. And, you know, like I said, I believe in Jesus, and, you know, you read all the stuff in the Bible, and you can't be like, oh, that could never happen. Well, you can't be a Christian and believe in like Jesus and all these things that you read in the Bible and not believe that people have these abilities, you know, because you read about them, like it's all over, you know, like, so I believe that one day, maybe, hopefully, I will have my legs back. But that's just a personal belief of mine.
Do you hold on to that belief, or are you able to say, no, I accept who I am for what it is now, and able to do what I can right now?
I don't hold on to that. Like, I don't like get my head wrapped around that. But I mean, I'd be completely content how I am now for the rest of my life. And I think that's being content, you know, to an extent. You know, a lot of people being content with who they are, but people kind of live in like darkness, you know. They just kind of go from point A to point B every day, and they don't really have a purpose, and, you know, they don't search, you know, they don't look, and, you know, they don't pay attention to the details. And
and you've been able to do that more now that in this situation, would you say?
Not because of my situation, but I've been forced to. You know, I have to make up for mentally and spiritually where I lack physically.
Mm,
Um, and it's strengthened who I am. So,
mm.
in extent, yeah, I have been able to do it better than I used to.
Yeah, I know as a person without arms and legs myself, I've become very good about reading people just because when I'm out there in public, especially if I'm by myself, I'm I'm very vulnerable to the people around me and to the extent that they are willing to help me. And so I have to always read people, okay, who's willing to help me if I need it, be aware of my surroundings, and you have to be definitely have a higher awareness of what's happening around you. And sometimes being able to see the signs a little bit deeper comes along with that awareness, I believe. There are people out there that may be going through this right now. Maybe, like you said, you visit wounded warriors, or maybe there was someone in a car accident, they become recently paralyzed. What would you say that your three main challenges were in transitioning through this life change?
Um, Dealing with people mostly is the hardest thing, I think, because everyone kind of people, you know, I'm in a wheelchair. People don't see me; they see my wheelchair. That's what they see, and they have this like idea that I'm like not capable of anything, and I'm just like this chair is not who I am. I can get out of this chair and do this and that. I don't know. For me, sometimes people are kind of act strange. You know,
Okay.
people are stressed out around me because it's kind of hard to read my body language because if I'm like gonna jump out of my chair, sometimes people are like freaking out and they're always like I'm like falling down and they're like I'm like calm down. It's just like I'm just getting out of my chair. You know, they don't know if I'm coming or going and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So people are weird sometimes, but I try not to let it get to me.
Okay. So having people react to you is a major challenge. Can you name two other major challenges that you've had to deal with?
Um, Let me think. Two major challenges that probably yeah, I don't know. I wish I kind of went blank all of a sudden.
You know what? I'm gonna well, forgive yourself for going blank, because I've had that question asked to me. What is your biggest challenge? And it was on a TV interview. And for the life of me, I was like praying to God, oh my God, what's the answer? What's the answer? What's the answer? And I couldn't think of anything. And the fact that I couldn't think of anything was the answer that needed to be said. Because when people look at someone like you or someone like me or somebody else that's been through a major life change and has come through amazingly on the other side, to say that, to not be able to identify a challenge is amazing to them, because for most people they could probably identify many challenges that they would have to go through. But for us, it's just taking it one step at a time, one day at a time, like you've said, and putting our best foot forward, so to speak. So I think that that's you not being able to think of anything is probably the best thing that people could hear right now. But let me change the question. Instead of challenges, what are the three lessons that you've learned since this transition?
Well, that's I was that doesn't help me much. It's about the same question. Um,
Okay.
I can answer the first question. I was sitting there thinking about it, and one of the challenges that I faced is kind of like the not the way people deal with me, but the massive attention that I get. I get a lot of attention everywhere I go, and it's kind of nonstop sometimes. It's just like I'm always kind of put into this, like, because you walk into a room, everyone sees you, people are always talking to you, and a lot of times I just get in a situation where I just need to take a break sometimes, and I almost need to like prioritize like what I'm doing, and like sometimes I need to like take time for myself and just kind of take a break. As for lessons, man, the lessons are endless. there's so many lessons. Well, I definitely have learned that I've learned a lot, and since I've been learning so much, I've learned that, wow, I don't know anything. You know,
Okay.
it's like, wow, I know so little, and it's just like the more I learn, I have a long way to go. I have a long way to go. And
Okay.
for me, I don't know. I just always want to try to better myself. I'm kind of a perfectionist in a way. I don't like to do things like half-ass. Ask questions. I like to ask a lot of questions. I think
Okay.
I think one great thing for people to be is to be childlike, and I feel like that has been kind of like my source, my answer in life is to be childlike. I don't let, a kid will stick his hand into a fire out of curiosity. He doesn't, know better, but that's how he learns. And people, little kids are open-minded, you know, and they're willing to listen to new ideas, and they have this like fearlessness about them, and I feel like that has, helped me to be who I am and to help me progress. And I wish I had a perfect answer I could give people that would just be like, aha, that's it, but sometimes, honestly, it just takes you sitting down and really thinking about it by yourself.
I think everyone has to experience life for themselves and learn the lessons they need to learn on their own. I do believe that there are lessons that we can learn from other people by watching them, by being observant, by, maybe if they went through, their thing and you wanted advice from them, you could learn lessons from them. But, I think it's your attitude of approaching life like a child, with a child's curiosity is beautiful because it allows you to experience things almost for the first time all over again. And with a verb that's just, it's all excitement. And no fear. So that's beautiful. But it's, if someone was watching and they want to get to where you're at, it's almost easy for us to say like, oh yeah, it'll be better, it'll be okay, and just do have this attitude and just do this, and it'll be okay, and life will go on. But what if someone just is like, they don't see it, they're in that darkness? Do you have any words that you would be able to pass on to them?
Like I said, don't ever. It's okay to ask for help.
Okay.
It is. It's okay to ask for help, and some people are stubborn, and and I'm right there with you. But if you're in a place where you're not happy with yourself and you want to change, well then sometimes, I hope you get to where you want to be, and I hope that eventually you are happy with who you are. But if you're having trouble getting there, ask for help. Ask people, like for instance, it's like you asking me now, like as you meet people, talk to them. Like how do you live so happy? How do you do this? And how what's your technique? And for me, I just try to be aware of everything, and I when I see things and issues, and I'm always critiquing myself to an extent. I don't know.
Okay, so you critique yourself, so you're your hardest critic.
I am definitely my hardest critic. I definitely don't think I'm as cool as people think I am.
Wow. That would be hard to believe, Todd. You're pretty cool. Okay, so how has your outlook on the future changed?
My outlook on the future.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess I'm excited for the future, like I said, when I was asking God, like, what are you preparing me for? I was actually, I still think about that sometimes, and I have like an idea in my head, but I don't want to like share it. But
Okay, that's
I
okay.
am, I do feel like the hardest times in my life are not behind me; they're in front of me, and I actually am excited for them. I can't.
Why? Why? How can you say that?
Well, you look at history, and it's only during the hardest times of mankind that you get to see your greatest heroes, and
Mm,
that's I don't know. Like for me, like it's I'm gonna be dealt a bunch of problems, and it's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna fight through them, and I'm excited to what's at the end of the road. That's what I'm looking forward to is going back home.
hmm Um, and you're going back home actually today.
I am physical home. Yes, I'm going back home.
Okay, so you were talking about a different home.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, Todd, you are an amazing person. I mean, I'm sure I know why the media has, it's like they're surrounding you like flies. There's just something very special about you as a person, not necessarily what happened to you. Definitely, what happened to you is an impetus or a catalyst for them to want to talk to you. But then when you go deeper, there's so much more than the story of what happened. It's like that was just the beginning of the next chapter. When I approached you and I actually emailed you about doing an interview with me, you wrote back and you said, I get a lot of requests for interviews and I usually turn them down, but I would be willing to do the interview with you because of of what you're doing. So what's your intention with people being able to hear your story? Because a lot of the people here listening to your story or listen to how you processed all this is, they're part of the disability community. So why did
A
you?
lot of times, why I agreed to do the interview with you is because I know that your intentions are pure. A lot of times, the media is a lot of times it's just someone trying to do their job simply, and and a lot of times like it's not like this. I get to sit here and share my story with you, and I know that you're gonna present it to people. I'll sit there and I'll spill my heart out to a reporter, and then I'll watch the news and I'll see myself talking for 2 seconds about something, and it's like, wow, out of all the things they use that part of me talking. It's like a waste of an interview, and so that's why a lot of times I say no to them because I know that I'll share my story and they won't share it with anyone else. It just goes into their ears, and I don't know. I'm glad that I know that with you, you're genuine and you're not just doing a job. You have intentions to help people, and that's what I want to do. I want to help people, and as I start to engage in this whole lifestyle of helping people, I'm going to get better at it, and I get to meet people, and I get to learn from you, and eventually, be pretty good at it, I hope.
I think you're pretty good at it. You'll probably be a master at it very soon of helping people. So I want to thank you for being here today, for granting me the interview, for opening yourself so selflessly and allowing people to see who you are in in all its in all its glamour. I'm kind of a loss for words. So thank you. With every show, I'd like to end with what people are grateful for. So I'd like to ask you, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for all of my blessings. This is a little thing I say to people sometimes, and I say I would rather lose half of my blessings and be aware of the rest of them than to have all of my blessings and never know it. So a lot of people go around in life and they don't realize how they had it made, but
Mm,
it's when some things are taken away from you, you start to get a tighter grip on what you still have. And, I think that is definitely what I'm grateful for, is what I still have. And I've realized that what I still have is a lot more important than what I've lost. So,
Well, if I had hands right now, I'd applaud you. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you for touching my life, and I know you're going to be touching many, many more people's lives, and I hope we see much more of you. And who knows? I hope to one day meet with you in person, and we can do a follow up, or however our paths cross. I look forward to what we create. So thank you so much.
well, thank you for having me on the show, Pauline. Anytime. I look forward to staying in contact with you and maybe watching some of your episodes. I don't know what you call them. And
Yes.
maybe meeting you one day. It's potentially I might come to Hawaii sometime. I'll definitely let you know. You'll be on
Okay.
the priority list.
Okay, good. I hope so. I hope so. And we'll have a lot of stories to swap, I'm sure. So, thank you so much for tuning in to Chair Chats. I know that Todd is an extremely amazing person who has so much to offer. And if you're out there and you're focused on what you don't have or what you've lost in this life, know that there's so much more that you have within you and that you can share with the world to make a huge difference. You never know how you're going to make a difference in this world. So until we meet again, be blessed.